Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Weidner from MassageChairRelief.com, and today we are visiting with Mike Stearns, who is one of our customers who purchased a Luraco iRobotic 7 from us within the recent past. And Mike has agreed to visit with us and do this interview to talk a little bit about his experience of shopping for a chair, buying a chair, using the chair. And Mike, of course, to start off, I'm most interested. Well, first of all, thanks so much for being on this.
You're very welcome.
Anyways, let's begin with you telling me a little bit about how you arrived at the decision, A, to buy a chair, and then, of course, to decide on the Luraco.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, I was actually on a trip down to Nashville for a company conference, and was there hoofing it back and forth from my hotel to the conference center, which was just under a mile each way, usually lugging a briefcase. I had a bout with sciatica kicking up, and on the return trip, lugging a heavy suitcase through the airport. Had about a couple hours to kill. Stopped in at a waiting area at the airport, had a little bar there, and got myself a drink, and noticed next to where I was sitting enjoying my drink, there were two massage chairs. And I thought, okay, I haven't sat in one of these before, but I'll give it a try. And I fed it my ATM card and sacrificed $5 to get a massage, and actually found it quite helpful, and it took some of the stiffness out of my back. And when I got home, I decided that I was going to investigate whether or not such devices existed for the home, because I really didn't know. And I found that not only do they exist, but they exist with many more features than an airport massage chair has, which didn't have anything for the legs or feet.
Right.
So did a little looking online, ran across some of your videos very quickly because they are pretty prolific on the internet, and you come across as the preeminent individual with massage chairs in the U.S. So you know, I considered your expertise. Did a little research, decided on looking at a few chairs. The one that I had in mind was actually the Dreamwave by Anata. I wanted to try them out, and I found a local retail store that I visited, and they had 3 chairs on their showroom floor. That was it. They had a Dreamwave 7 from Anata. They had one from and if I mispronounce the company's name, I apologize. I think it was Cosia, I believe. And then the third one was from Human Touch, and that was the Nova, which is a very futuristic looking chair. It was a little too in the future for my personal taste as far as its appearance, although I like the way it acted.
Yeah.
The Dreamwave was pretty dreamy, but it lacked foot rollers and had a fairly clunky remote. It looked like something out of the late 90s, quite honestly. And then the third chair, the Cosia, the issue I had with that was, although it had foot rollers, it had an L-track, it was a little bit harsher than I would have liked, and it also was making noises that the other 2 more expensive chairs didn't make, which made me question how durable that chair would be in the long run.
Right.
So I left thinking, well, Dreamwave is the way to go. And I had read a lot of very positive things about massage chair relief, so I thought I'd give you guys a call. And I called your 800 number, and the phone was answered by Michael Nguyen, who I believe is your manager at Cerritos out in California.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he answered because he's supposed to, or because my phone number has a 714 area code and he thought I was local. I've actually relocated to Kansas City now. But anyway, Michael was extraordinarily helpful. Yeah. He listened to what I was looking for. He offered some suggestions, but he asked questions, then he provided answers. And he was the one originally that suggested I might consider doing some more research into the Luraco iRobotics i7 chair. It was in roughly the same price range, so it's not, you know, it's a fairly pricey chair as the Anata Dreamwave, but it also offered the foot rollers I was looking for. It offered a much more not only contemporary, but I think user-friendly remote. It looks very much like a smartphone.
Yep.
And had some other kind of cool features. The ability to plug an SD card into the remote and store your music on there and then play it back. Now, the speakers on the i7 are, I wouldn't call them super high quality audiophile type speakers. They're not, but they do, they not only give you voice response that exists in, I think, 5 different languages.
Yep.
In fact, I happen to have a business trip to the Dallas-Fort Worth area coming up the following week, and Mike told me that the Luraco chair was the only U.S.-made chair. The others, the Inada was Japanese. Most of the others were Chinese in their origin. And he said, where are they based? Arlington, Texas. Well, I was going down there to do some teaching. My 88-year-old mother happens to live in Arlington, or not in Arlington, in Grand Prairie, right adjacent to Arlington, and I was planning to stay with her to make my company happy and reduce hotel expenses.
Yeah, good.
So anyway, Michael arranged for me on fairly short notice to get a tour of the Luraco facility. I was met by 2 very nice women, Robin, and I believe the other lady's name was Julie, if I remember. But we got the royal treatment. I actually dragged my 88-year-old mother with me, who was not purchasing a chair, but they treated her very, very nicely. And we got a chance to see the impressive front office section, which was marble floors, squeaky clean, by the way, all kinds of awards on the wall. Into the middle section, which was the manufacturing and design facilities as well as quality control.
Yeah.
And I was particularly impressed with just not only the cleanliness and organization of the facility, but also the professionalism. And I want to tell you, as we went through that facility, every worker we encountered came up, shook my hand, introduced himself. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of blown away with that level of customer service. And then we went, and I want to mention too, there's one gentleman who has a job. He sits in a glass cage that's probably 12 by 12 feet, probably 10 feet tall, and he sits in there with one chair at a time and quality checks the chair. And he's got a little microphone with a decibel meter on it because they're very concerned that their chairs are quiet. And I got to tell you, that's got to be a pretty pleasant job to have, is just test massage chairs all day long. I was pretty envious. Anyway, we ended up in the toward the rear of their facility is a showroom, and a very nice showroom. I test drove that chair for at least a half an hour. And was very impressed with not only the remote control, the quality of the chair, but also the fact it did have what I wanted that the Dreamwave didn't, like the foot rollers. Yeah. And the voice response. In fact, my mother, who was born in Germany, the ladies at Luraco put it in German language. So instead of saying heat on it, would say Heizung on. So it spoke German to her, and she was just really impressed with that. And I also asked them, well, you folks sell direct? Do you prefer we go through your distributors? And they said, well, if you have a distributor, we've got a good network. We would prefer you go through them. And I've had the chair now for better part of 2 months, I guess. I enjoy the heck out of it.
Okay. Have you noticed any other changes? Like, I mean, when you first sat in that massage chair in the airport so many months ago, and you noticed a change when you sat in it, have you continued to notice that change? Have you noticed anything else from therapeutically?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I had some tightness in my lower back, I've had some trauma to my back over the years. I tend to do things that maybe is a little bit on the fringe of adrenaline junkie stuff, but I'm also a klutz. Yeah. And so, let's see, I injured my back in 1984 in a skydiving accident,
Oh
and
my
then
heavens.
about 1994, about 10 years later, I had a head-on collision with a wave runner. I was on the wave runner. The boat hit
Oh
me,
my goodness.
broke my back, actually, some bones in the back, and there were some other things as well. I got in a car accident. So I've had some back problems that ended up with some deterioration of the discs in my lower back and also in my neck a little bit. And
Hmm.
every once in a while, sciatica kicks up. What I have noticed with the chair, number one, it does a great job of alleviating that. It doesn't necessarily go away altogether, but
Right.
it loosens things up enough that um, I feel much better, and I
Good.
noticed that immediately.
Okay, good.
Okay, the other area I've noticed is in the neck.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the Luraco has, I believe, 9 preset programs in it, and depending upon the program you select, it might concentrate a little more on the neck or lower back, or it might go down the spine a little more. But I've noticed also relief in that area. Um, so yeah, loosening up, just feeling better, and I love the night mode, by the way, which is one of the program modes, and
Why do you like that one?
because it helps me sleep.
It really does.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
soothes
and
you.
I've noticed that if I sit in my chair right before I go to bed in that night mode, and I set it for a half an hour, um, that I fall asleep within minutes after hitting the
Wow.
pillow. Yeah. And I have actually fallen asleep in the chair a few times.
Yeah. It's a very
Uh,
quiet chair. It's easy to fall
it
asleep in it.
is.
It's very quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But I love the fact that it has the pre-program mode, but you have manual override on
Hmm.
all of it. I
Hmm.
love the heaters in the seat and in the back and in the feet. The feet rollers are great. I
Yeah.
love the ability to also save users.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because it does have a rather lengthy measurement program, it's about 2 minutes to go through that initial measurement, but it will save all of that.
Yeah.
So if I load the user up at the beginning and pick whatever program I want, boom, I'm done and enjoying it. So it's been well worth every penny I spent on it.
Really impressed with how responsive they are, and the fact that they can adjust most of that stuff right there in Arlington. It's pretty cool that you can make that they can make they have the ability to make changes quick, especially
Yeah.
engineering changes. So I really like that as well. Now, for someone that's shopping for a chair, Mike, any pieces of advice that you would give to them after you've been through this process and whatnot? Any nuggets of wisdom that you'd share?
I'd say call you.
Thank you, or Michael, I guess.
All right. I tell you what, and I'm not saying this just because we're conversing together or because you gave me a free coffee mug. Um, but my experience, not only with Luraco, but your company with Massage Chair Relief, has probably been the finest customer service experience I've ever had in my life. And I'm not a young guy.
Wow,
All
thank
right.
you.
It's very rare to find a company that pays such attention to its customers and uh, ensures that they are happy. And when I was talking with Michael Nguyen, he didn't high pressure me at all. He offered his information, and I found it extraordinarily useful. And you've continued to keep contact with me after the sale.
Hmm.
So I've received a couple of letters from you and emails and things like that. Um, and your knowledge is probably second to none in the country. Just looking at the videos you put out
Yeah,
there, I don't know if you've ever counted them, but I'm sure it's a bunch.
yeah, it's quite a
So
few.
yeah, I'd say find somebody who knows what they're talking about, like you or like Michael,
Yeah,
and because what I found with you guys is you gave me unbiased opinions about chairs of all price ranges.
right.
It wasn't
Good.
trying to point me in one direction or the other than saying here are the features I'm looking for, and offering up here's a chair that delivers on those features.
Good. That's the way it should be, and that's the way we try to do it.
All right, Dr. Weidner. Well, very nice talking with you, and have a
Likewise, we'll
great
see you.
day. Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.